I'm Luke Summerhays, and I love Joltik. Pokemon come in all shapes and sizes. Some are as big as the largest real-world animals, and sometimes beyond, stepping into kaiju territory. Many of them are around the size of a person, more like the on-set man in a suit than Godzilla himself. And a lot of them are the size of medium animals like dogs and cats. Not just the mammals and the birds, but even the bugs. In the real world, in modern times, most insects and arachnids are pretty small. Ants, spiders and so on are minuscule compared to us, though a few exceptions go quite large in warm climates. In prehistoric times, due to Earth's extremely different atmospheric conditions, some bugs could grow to properly monstrous sizes. Joltik, a fluffy yellow electric and bug type, was, at the time of its release, the smallest Pokemon. We've learned from interviews that there were plans to make an even smaller bug Pokemon, but with the graphic power available at the time, it was decided Joltik was as far as the developers were willing to go. Perhaps because the sprite is so small in the available space, it's a creature which bounces very high, like a common jumping spider in Japan, or a tick in the underbrush of Europe. Pokemon White tells us, they attach themselves to large-bodied Pokemon and absorb static electricity, which they store in an electric pouch. Ticks in real life will attach themselves to a larger animal and steal some blood, but unfortunately in the process they can spread some pretty unpleasant diseases. Luckily, Joltik isn't getting into anyone's bloodstream, instead just absorbing some electrical energy. Pokemon Black tells us, Joltik that live in cities have learned a technique for sucking electricity from the outlets in houses. In the anime, when we first meet Joltik, it drains the electrical energy from Pikachu, among others, and though it isn't literally sucking blood, there's definitely a vampiric quality to the draining we see. Pokemon Sword tells us, Joltik can be found clinging to other Pokemon. It's soaking up static electricity because it can't produce a charge on its own. The name Joltik combines tick with jolt, the sharp movement brought on, perhaps, by an electric shock. The Japanese name for the Pokemon is Bachiru, with bachi bachi being onomatopoeia for electrical crackling, and chu meaning bug, or perhaps the churu from tarantula. Ironically, despite being incredibly small for a Pokemon, Joltik would still be around the size of a real-world tarantula, one of the largest real-life arachnids. It's a little cuter than one of those, though, in my opinion. At level 36, however, Joltik becomes as big for the Pokemon world as a tarantula is for ours, when it evolves into Galvantula. Galvantula maintains Joltik's fluffy yellow coat and 4 legs, but gains extra eyes and exaggerated mandibles, while also growing to the size of a large dog, entering into horror movie territory. Pokemon White tells us, they employ an electrically charged web to trap their prey. While it is immobilized by shock, they leisurely consume it. Real-life tarantulas don't actually produce webs as we imagine spider webs, but they do shed fur with paralyzing effect on small animals, and which causes a nasty itch for humans. Pokemon Sword tells us, it launches electrified fur from its abdomen as its means of attack. Opponents hit by the fur could be in for 3 full days and nights of paralysis. Welcome back to Does Andy Remember Gen 5 Pokemon?
And if so, does he have any thoughts about them?
Joltik.
Joltik is a little bug who is electric. It's quite cute. Do you have any thoughts about Joltik outside of that? Does it evolve?
Yeah. Galvantula.
Ooh, that's a bit weird, isn't it? Oh, I kind of prefer the little tick. I mean, ticks aren't great in general. They're quite a frustrating bug. Whereas, actually, ironically, tarantulas are kind of alright, aren't they? They're not particularly feisty folk.
Yeah, I hate them because I have a bit of arachnophobia, but I think they're actually no bother to humans at all.
Yeah, they must be pretty chill. Whereas ticks are not. They are the opposite of chill. They give people nasty diseases. So, if anything, evolve your Joltik's good, because you can help prevent disease.
I think I've told you this before. When I was a kid, at like a school trip or something, I held a tarantula. But I couldn't actually imagine doing that now.
What happened?
Well, I don't know. I guess just because everyone was doing it and I didn't want to miss out, and I was in the...
I mean, like, did you gain more fear afterwards?
Well, that's it. Because mostly I have a lot less fear now of spiders than I used to. Like, small ones don't bother me. I'll take them outside, no problem. I'll go hiking quite near them. But, like, yeah, a tarantula in my hands, I'm like, what? No, that sounds horrible. But as a kid, I just did it. No bother.
Fair. I mean,
yeah,
I can't help you. I mean,
I just spit in the zone.
I never held a wasp as a kid. That's for sure. So.
Wasps are the one that scare you, are they?
Oh yeah. Because there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, well, that's it.
That it wants you dead.
There's actually good reason to fear wasps.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Spiders, there's not. But I just don't. I like them.
Like, my fear of things popping up in front of me. That's rational. So.
Boogie.
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
In the video games, Galvantula has pretty good speed and special attack, which give it a small niche. But it really became a threat when it gained the move Electro Web in the 6th generation, allowing it to slow opposing teams. Pokemon Shield tells us, "It lays traps of electrifying threads near the nests of bird Pokemon, aiming to snare chicks that are not yet good at flying." The name, Galvantula, combines tarantula with galvanize, the generation of electrical current by chemical reaction, as found in living creatures. The Japanese name is Dentula, combining denki, or electricity, with tarantula. Joltik is about as cute as a spider can get. I think Galvantula might maintain that cuteness for some people, but for those of us who carry a little arachnophobia, it's a threatening presence to encounter in a dark cave. Especially if it's going to drain my phone's battery and make me explore the cave without a comforting podcast to listen to. Original music for Luke Lost Pokemon is by Jonathan Cromie. Artwork is by Katie Groves. Funding is provided by listeners at patreon.com/podcastiopodcastius. For just $1 a month, supporters can listen to episodes a week early, and also help cover hosting and fees, making it possible for me to keep making episodes every week. I love hearing from listeners. Get in touch about upcoming Pokemon on Twitter or Facebook at LukeLovesPKMN. Drop a comment if you're watching the video, or a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Coming up are Ferroseed and Clink, so please get in touch about those or any other monsters. Even if you don't feel like doing any of that, thank you so much just for listening. I love Joltik, and remember, I love you too.